Hey everybody, George Williams Sr. here. Hey, I've had it often asked me, what does it take to be a timberfaller? And you can say you need the training, you need, hook up with somebody, learn your skills, be a bucker for a while, and, get the skills under your belt so you can fall trees and survive falling trees. Well, that's just part of it. I'm going to show you what it really takes to be a timberfaller. Outside of learning how to fall trees and surviving it, and how to lay a tree, make your face cut, make your back cut, learning to jack and all that stuff. Outside of that, what it takes to be a timberfaller, I'm about to show you. First thing you need is this.
You need a saw. You need a good saw, a big saw. And you need a backup saw. And you need a backup saw for your backup saw. And then you need some more saws. Because if you think you can go out there with just one saw, well, if something breaks or you lose a bolt or a throttle linkage breaks or something, nothing, even a minor issue with just one saw, going to cost you hundreds of dollars if you have to shut down. Next thing you need chain. And you got to buy chain in bulk, because buying it by the loop is ridiculous. So you got to buy it in bulk, and you got to be able to make your own chain. You need the loop making tools to make your own chain, a punch and a spinner. Then you're going to need a commercial professional grinder, because really cutting timber, being efficient at sawing logs and falling trees, the real secret is just like coffee. The secret is in the grind. And if you can't do a good grind, have a sharp chain that'll just throw out chips and cut right through just about everything you can cut, well, you're not going to get very far very fast, and people are going to notice that. So this here is probably the biggest secret that makes you a good cutter, a good professional grinder. Next thing you need is a ton of wedges, because you're going to go through wedges. And I don't go through wedges so much from wedging. I usually end up going through wedges because I saw the tips of them on. But you're going to need wedges. And you're going to need an axe. And you're going to need a spare axe. And you're going to need a spare axe for your spare axe. And you're going to need some extra axe handles. Next thing you're going to need is a pair of safety pants or chaps, depending what you like to wear. These are some chaps. These are safety pants. Because the last thing you want to do is excavate your leg with your chain. As you get better and get more proficient, you're eventually going to need a jack, because it really sucks if the company you're working for doesn't have one, or you got to borrow it all the time because some other cutter's using it. And it really sucks if you don't have one for yourself, so you can just get it done. And these are really expensive. And my suggestion to you is don't loan them out. The minute you loan them out, somebody's going to screw it up. So you're going to need a jack. You're going to need bar oil. Lots and lots of bar oil. And that's a whole nother expense in itself. Fuel. And fuel cans. And fuel mix. You're going to need a lot of that. And you're going to have to put together a saw kit to take with you, so when you do have a breakdown out in the woods, you can go back to your truck, fix it, and get back to work. Another thing that's not talked about much is you need a good pair of boots. Not just a pair of boots. You're going to need a couple pair of boots. You're going to need a pair of boots for warm weather days, and a pair of boots for wet weather days. And these boots don't come cheap. They wear out fast. And you can get whites and different kinds of boots like that, which are old tried and true boots. But you know what? As you get older, you figure out those suckers hurt your feet. So Hoffman's, Danners, whatever you want to do, they might not last as long, but when you walk out of the woods at the end of the day, at least your feet aren't sore. You're going to need a falling pouch and a tool pouch for when you're up. And your tool pouch is going to have tapes. Now, if you get one tape, you're pretty much screwed. You're going to have to get 2 or 3 tapes. So you have a spare tape And then you're going to have to get spare fillers, because you're going to break these a lot. And you're going to have to go buy some horseshoe nails, because you're going to have to put some nails in the ends. There's some more expense. Hard hats. Depending on what kind you like to use, you're going to need a hard hat. I personally like the Husqvarna and New Generation hard hats, because I have literally been hit, and if I had been wearing a MAC tee, I would be dead today. Gloves. You're going to need lots of gloves, first aid kit, and all kinds of stuff like that.
What else haven't we covered? So, besides all the knickknacks and tools, you're going to need stuff to tune up your wedges. You're going to need tools to fix your axes. You're going to need all that kind of stuff. So what I've shown you so far, if you've got everything you need there, well, you're looking at, anywhere between $10,000, $15,000 of stuff that you need to be a timber faller. And now here comes the hard part. If you want to be a successful timber faller and keep going, this is what else.
Dependable truck. A truck that'll get you up the mountain and get you home. Your truck's going to need ability to rack your saws and your gear. As you can see, I use my truck for multiple things. Not only is my saw rack on my truck for my saw rack, but it's also for my recreation too. I go kayaking, go rafting, whatever I use it for. You're going to need a good, solid, dependable vehicle. Nothing like heading to work and not getting there or not getting home. And you're going to put about 1,000 miles a week on your truck if you're trying to stay at home. So be prepared for the fuel expense. Runs in today's economy anywhere between $1,000 to $800 a month, sometimes more. That being said, if you're going to stay out in the woods, you got to have a way of staying out in the woods.
You can tent camp it like I did for the first 10 years of my falling career, and that really sucks. You can truck camp it and try to sleep in the back of your truck, but you know what? You just don't get a good night's sleep. When you're not rested and you don't sleep good, you can't cut good. So you're eventually going to need
something to live in while you're out in the woods and get as close to the job as possible. And on top of that, it's going to cost you food. You're going to have to haul in water or sump pump, propane, generator, whatever it is you need. All that's going to add up.
So overall, in the end, if you want to be a successful timber faller and you boil down the numbers, it literally is going to cost you to be an efficient timber faller $50,000, $60,000 in basic gear, and then another $30,000 to $50,000 pickup on top of that. So you factor it in. Do you really want to be a timber faller? And the prices that they're paying out there, a lot of companies aren't hiring timber fallers anymore. They're making you subcontract. So now you've got to get liability insurance to work. And if you have any other employees, then you got to get, workman's comp on top of that. In the state of California, that sucks big time. So, in a nutshell, there you have it. You want to be a timber faller? Crunch the numbers. I would recommend, if you're subcontracting and you're not taking on the job as a subcontractor that's going to have employees under your belt, I would insist, at a minimum, that you get $150 an hour. At a minimum. I don't think I would go back falling timber this year unless that would be my bare minimum. I would shoot for more, honestly, with the inflation and the economy the way it is. I would shoot for as close to $200 an hour as possible. The risks that you're cutting these days, especially with all this burnt timber, the mills, the loggers, they're just going to have to put it out there. Or they can get the young and dumb who don't know better. But it's expensive being a timber faller subcontracting. So there you have it. So you want to be a timber faller? There's the nuts and bolts of it. You decide if it's worth it. Risking your life for very little pay and a lot of expense going out the door. George Williams Sr., Hope all you cutters out there that are still working are staying safe, staying smart, staying frugal. It's 2025. Haven't made up my mind yet if I'm going to go back out in the woods or just call it quits. We'll see. We'll figure it out as we go. Talk to you later. Stay safe out there. One last thing that I forgot to mention. These days, there's a lot of certification out there. And I'll tell you this, and I'm going to tell you this for your own good. Being certified doesn't mean squat in the woods. In 2000, I had to take a course to cut on fireline to become a Faller certification faller. And I had been cutting timber for, well, since 1986 up to that point. Had literally billions of board feet under my belt. I got to the school up in Klamath, Oregon. And the instructor there was an old retired Forest Service guy. First thing he did is he looked around the room. There was like 30 of us, 32 of us or so. And he had everybody show hands. How many of you have worked commercially in the timber industry? About 10 of us raised our hands. And then he goes, out of those 10, how many of you were Timberfallers? And 2 of us raised our hands. And he looked me dead in the eye and he pointed his finger at me and he goes, you, come up here and teach this class. So I literally had to teach the class how to fall timber to get certified as a faller. That's how much bullshit I think of certifications. So if you have gone to a school and have gotten certified as a faller, good on you. But you know what? In the woods, it means shit. So don't use that to say you're qualified. You're not qualified. The way I was told when I first started falling timber is if you survive the first 5 years of falling timber, then you have the right to claim the badge of Timberfaller. Be safe, stay smart, stay efficient. Talk to you later.